Back after a short break on these videos. Actually, it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. A few things going on in the background, so apologies for that. Windows 8.1 was launched a couple of weeks ago, preview at the Build event, Microsoft Build event in San Francisco. I've had it now for a couple of weeks on the Acer W510. Now, I've written an article on UMC Portal guiding you through how to install it. Talking about some of the issues. It is buggy, so be prepared to accept bugs. Don't put it on a production system, and talk about some of the features. But in this video I just want to go over some of the main things about Windows 8.1 preview. So I'm obviously taking it from an ultra mobile perspective here for UMC Portal. First thing we really want to say is that Windows 8.1 is not that different to Windows 8. There's not a massive amount of change. The concept is exactly the same. You've got the Metro interface and you've got the desktop. There's obviously the much talked about start button, which isn't. It will just bring you back into the Metro user interface, or you can set it to default into the list of apps. That's up to you. You can also change the things that happen in the corner of the devices as well, but there's not a lot of change there. I think the main changes excuse me, on the user interfaces are that you can now use very small icons and even larger icons now, which gives you a bit more flexibility in organizing stuff on your start screen. Here you can see I've got a bunch of heavily used apps that I've put into small icons here, into that area really where your thumb goes there. So, you know, putting a load of stuff in there is probably quite important, and that would be the same over here as well. Try and pack in a lot of stuff in these areas there. Makes it pretty easy to get to those apps. But the idea of live tiles is still there. One major difference actually to selecting apps is that where you used to be able to just pull an app up to select it, pulling up now goes to the full list of apps. So previously you had to pull up and select all apps, which you can still, oh no, you can't still do. Now that's swapped over actually, because long press now puts you into the edit mode, and tap again gets you back, and you couldn't get into the edit mode by doing the old all apps movement. So that's quite useful, getting to all apps like that. Of course, searching is exactly the same. If you need to get to something quickly, just start typing and you'll get to whatever you need by just typing. Now let's just go back here. That obviously works if you've got a keyboard, but if you haven't got the keyboard attached, you'll have to bring the keyboard up here. So if I just type tweet, you'll see the app appears here, and then I can start the Tweetro app. One nice change for portrait mode, handheld devices, so 8 to 10 inch devices, 7 to 10 inch devices, is a little bit of change to the on-screen keyboard now. First thing is that your previews, your word previews, you can actually switch between them by swiping along the scroll bar and then hitting space button to select the one you want. So if you look here, July, called that. Okay, your eyes are darting a little bit between the top and the bottom on that. It's not, I don't think, perfect. It would actually be nicer if the words were here, but then again, you're going to have to be looking up to the entry box there. So I'm not too sure which would be best, down there or up there. Microsoft have obviously decided up there is better. The other thing that's pretty good is that you can access numerics here. Long press gives you not just numerics but variants of the key, and if you do other things down here, you'll see you've got access to the ones that come under shift as well. So just slide up and that enters into the box there. So those changes are really quite nice on the keyboard. The browser is now Internet Explorer 11. In terms of quality, I don't see much difference on the Metro side of things, because the previous IE10 for Metro was actually pretty good. You've got no scroll down from the top anymore. Everything comes up from the bottom, which makes it a little bit more easy to access. But one thing you won't get is auto scrolling, line wrap, word wrap, or whatever you call it, auto sizing on Zoom, which I think is something badly missing from from IE10. Here you see SunSpider coming in at just under 700 milliseconds, which is a slight improvement over the sort of 730, 750 milliseconds of IE10. That may of course improve as we get near to launch in September. So Microsoft have worked through most of their apps and improved them greatly. The store is a way better experience than it was. It's better organized, and there's a few more search options. You've got new apps as well, sound recorder and calculator, kind of hint towards handheld tablet use. There's a scanner application, a food and drink application, and a health application. There's also a kind of read it later style application that can be used through the share charm bar. So if you go to share and share it with your reading list, that URL will go onto your reading list, and then that will be synchronized across all your Windows 8 devices. So go to any other PC, Windows 8 PC, get the reading list up, and you'll see what you've saved. SkyDrive has been slightly more deeply integrated. It now appears here by default on your File Explorer, whereas previously you had to kind of like enable it to get it to appear up in the favorites list. It's now there, so there's a little bit more deeper integration. Of course, that's also the default place to save pictures and music, or downloads, I believe. Although I think once you've changed it for the first time, it won't use SkyDrive again. So don't worry about everything going to SkyDrive, but do be aware that it might be the default place to save documents on the device. One other app I think is quite nice is the improvement on Xbox Music, where you can now get radio stations streaming. Even if you're not paying a subscription to Xbox, you can get some advertising supported subscriptions up. Not for all artists, but here's an example. Anastasia, I can hit the start radio button and that brings up a radio station based on that first choice. Let's have a go to the list. So there's the list, and you can actually advance across the list, see the playlist, see the upcoming playlist, and also save tracks as favourites. Of course you can buy tracks as well. That's enough of that one. This is a connected standby enabled application. So for connected standby enabled Windows 8 devices, hit the power button, you see me on the top right there, power off. Now that switches desktop off, and that switches Windows 8 Metro apps into a very low power state, controlled state, and that whole thing there is running probably in well under 1 watt, so would be for this tablet at least a 24-hour radio streaming experience, and with the added keyboard that would be a good couple of days there. So that's only with connected standby devices. So internally there's a couple of changes as well. We mentioned connected standby. Connected standby now supports 3G modules as well, so you can, if you've got 3G, that's the W510 and maybe the AT500T with 3G, once they get that Windows 8 upgrade to work. Currently it's not working on that one. So you can go connected standby. That means you can use the Skype app in connected standby. Using the small changes that they've made to the home screen, you can keep that in connected standby potentially all day and have Skype as a VoIP app over 3G, and using the home screen changes, you don't have to log in, you just swipe to accept the call, and that works pretty nicely. There's also a couple of other internal changes. I won't go into all the differences, but there's a couple of differences with the connected standby. More apps can now run in the background and register with the connected standby service, so where it was 4 before, I think it's now 6 or 8 apps that can register. There's obviously a disadvantage to that. The more apps that are running, the more your battery drains quickly, but if that's well controlled, which it usually is in connected standby, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Things that I think are missing, Notifications, there's still no notifications history on this, so your notification comes up and within 5 seconds it's gone and you can't get back to it to see what that notification was. You have to rely on the live tiles, which really aren't a notification history, they are a snapshot of what is going on, has gone on in the past. A mixed up snapshot, by the way, of everything that's gone on in the past. But apart from that, 8.1 changes are solid. It's not production quality. Don't install it on your production devices. Don't expect it to be the big change that really is going to make everyone love Windows immediately, because Metro is still there, and the whole concept of switching between the Metro user interface as your start page and having those apps in the Metro world, and then having the desktop behind that concept doesn't go away. So the start button might help people to get over the shock of the desktop and switching back to Metro, but really not much changes at all there. This should be available as a free upgrade. It will be available as a free upgrade. It should be available in September or October. We don't know dates for this, but we would expect a second preview before they release the full update. It's available in the store. Go onto my website, umcportal.com. I've got an article on how you upgrade the W510. That applies for a lot of Windows 8 devices too. Go to buildwindows.com, I believe it is, and you'll see instructions there as well. So anyway, that was a brief look at Windows 8.1 preview. Sorry about the rushed video. Sorry about the fact that I haven't done video for a few weeks as well. I'm getting back into it. I've got a few jobs I've got to sort out in the background. Once those are done, we'll be back into getting these videos done, and I hope to answer all your questions. We're on Facebook, UMC Portal and Ultrabook News. Of course, the websites, don't forget to check out those, and Twitter. My name's Chippy on Twitter, so please don't forget to follow and like the video. Please help me and like the video. Thanks for watching. We'll catch up with you on the next one. Bye-bye.